Hey, we're live. Hey, guys.
All us fucking clean cut looking bastards, eh?
Right, exactly. Even you got a little trim. Nice.
I know, it's funny you didn't even plan it.
Right. No, we didn't. So, dude, I wanted to share a story about this because this is crazy. I don't know if I did before. A good buddy of mine was out in Minnesota. His family's from there. Yeah, he and his, he moved out here and so forth. So they were all out to, they're like having brunch on like Sunday morning, and they had like 2 tables, and they're sitting outside in a, like a dining on a freaking sidewalk or whatever. Half of their party got up and went to go bowl. I guess there was bowling attached to this establishment. So they went in to bowl, and no sooner after they left, a guy in a BMW like X5 just kind of plowed through where they were sitting, wound up killing 2 people and wounding several others. And it just so happens that my buddy's brother was, he's a retired cop, his former special forces, and like 3 of his sisters are like nurses. So the guy tried to he was like stuck up on a rock on an embankment, and he was trying to get out. So both him and his, 2 of his sisters, one of his sisters and his brother went and like pinned the guy in the car till the cop showed up. And then my buddy was looking around, and he noticed that he found a body of the waitress underneath the car. So yeah, and it was like brutal. Then finally, like the first responders showed up, and then they just kind of, because my buddy's family, I use his name, had everybody triaged already, so they're directing, where people needed to go. I mean, he's, one of them said is an ER nurse. So they kind of, were administering CPR immediately, but, it's like, holy shit, I'm like, there's funny. I mean, it's there. The guy's getting like, I looked it up. If you look up like Minnesota, man drives through restaurant, you'll find it. He's getting like, I think like they're trying for like double life sentences or some shit like that.
Oh, so this was like intentional shit. It wasn't like a fucking malfunction of the fucking vehicle or
no.
medical issue.
I'm sorry. I probably should have covered that. Largely, I just completely left that out of the story. Turns out he was smashed. He was drunk as shit. So he parked, hit a car when he was trying to park, hit a couple cars. Then he was just fleeing the scene. They think it was, my buddy kind of thinks it was deliberate, but yeah, I don't know, because I think he went to that place a lot of times before. I don't know what his relationship is with the place other than that he drank there, but he was like, I think it was three times over the legal limit. Yeah, just hammered. I mean, he had hit, according to the report, like he had hit cars like on his way there, hit cars in the parking lot. And then he's like, because one of his sisters was in the parking lot and was like, hey, what are you doing? And she threw, like, he knocked off a mirror on one of the cars as he was parking. She threw the mirror at the car. So that prompted the guy to just, I guess, to get the hell out of there because he was been made. So yeah, and then he, just pinned it and crushed everybody. So
holy fuck, dude. This is like some fucking Final Destination shit. Tell your buddy to watch himself for the next little fucking bit, right? Death will become for all.
Right? Yeah. No shit. I was like, dude, kudos. I mean, goddamn, man, check that box. It's fucking crazy. Crazy.
That reminds me of a story when I worked security. This one's kind of fun. Nobody died, thank goodness. But so in this one, this dude, he was a construction worker. They had like these big cranes and stuff that they were building houses with. And this dude got totally smashed, and his car was so he was driving home by where the site was, and he high centered his vehicle in the median, somehow managed to walk to where the crane was, drove the crane through the gate because you had enough wherewithal to like get in there and get in the crane, but not to like open the gate. Drove through the gate, got to his vehicle, lifted his car up off the median, put it back on the road, parked the crane on the side of the road, and then drove home.
Holy shit!
Even if he got fucking pulled over for that, you gotta let him go for that shit. Like,
I mean, what did he hurt? He just illegal use of a crane. He hit the median, right? He didn't hit anybody.
It was crazy though.
Holy shit. God, it's fucking nuts. What are the chances that you pin your, you pin your car, then, oh yeah, I'm a crane operator, and there's a crane right there.
Holy fuck.
Holy shit, man.
So before you get started on shit, just a shout out to everybody in fucking Florida, man. That shit's just fucking crazy. So
shit. I was on with Mike Archangel.
Yeah.
We all know. And he was a little south of it. But there was, a lot of wind. Tampa got crushed.
See the fucking stadium, the fucking whole roof of the stadium got ripped off.
Yeah, it's nuts. I mean, you're looking at this, and here's the thing I wanted to talk about. Like, when you get into these things and they tell you to evacuate, just fucking evacuate.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
if you can see it coming, don't even wait for them to tell you. Just go. Just go.
I mean, look, if you got relatives, if not, they'll have shelters, places. It sucks. Yeah. When your shit goes south, look, as a former first responder, we're coming to rescue you, right? So if you don't go, you're putting teams at risk. So think of it that way. And when shit goes bad, man, it goes bad like exponential. And it's usually, and it takes it's not just one thing. It's always like 2 or 3 things, and then it's over. It's over. So, you can't control what Mother Nature's going to do to your fucking stuff. You can't.
Yeah. Well, it always goes fast too. You're like, I'm okay, everything's fine, and all of a sudden it's just not fine.
It's not.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude. You do any swift water rescue stuff, and you realize it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take deep water to move you and take you where you don't want to go, even your vehicle. I'm like, you're driving and stuff. I go, you see something? I go, you can't see the bottom of it. You don't, you don't know how deep it is. You turn around. That's it. I'm like, you don't, cause it's over, and it's gonna, and oh man, it's especially, with, being around the ocean and, understanding riptides and crap like that, you're like, you run out of energy so quickly, that you think you're like, oh, I can swim and make that. And then when you go, it's like you get zapped.
Yep.
I got caught riptide really, really and I was out of Montauk and I was just swimming and fucking around, and the kids were little and I got pulled out. And as soon as I started to go back in, I kept getting pulled out. So I knew immediately what was going on. So I just kind of laid on my back, floated, went, you go parallel to the shore, and then the water coming in, you let that push you in. So I was essentially kind of half-assed treading water and not really trying to fight this fucking thing. By the way, no lifeguards, nothing, it was that kind of shit. So, you gotta respect it beyond respect it. I mean, even shit even if stuff, I don't know if stuff you didn't know, if you get buried up to above your chest, I'm you're probably gonna get crushed to death.
Yeah.
If you look at people in dirt and stuff, I go, it's exponential, the force that the earth and gravity puts on you. So you think you're gonna pull out of this shit. I go, once it starts creeping up past your waistline and to your chest and your lungs, I mean, you can fucking die fast.
And we're seeing fucking videos of people out fucking jogging in this shit. I'm just like, what the fuck?
The other thing is, the fucking the gators and all the animals that get displaced.
Yep.
And they're freaked out and stressed, so they don't know what the hell's going on. They're they just got yanked out of their whatever hole they're sitting in. So. Yeah, dude. So, anytime you got to evacuate, I mean, got stories of plus what happens too, even after the storm's done and you've got, massive amounts of looters or, these guys coming in, they're two. There's people coming in from out of the area that are looking to rip shit off. And then there's people who are desperate and scared who are looking to survive. Right. And I don't know which one would be worse if you're facing a guy looking at, trying to feed his kids or, someone who's trying to, make a fast buck. Right. So, you just gotta, get out, because even if you survive the storm, the aftermath is, could be worse. We had guys down here during Sandy, that were, they were just in response teams, and they would just patrol the empty houses, and chase people, just running them down and arresting dudes, and just like basically taking them off the barrier islands and be like, get the fuck, get out of here, kind of shit, because there were too many for them to lock up. But yeah, nutty stuff. But yeah, I hope, look, and then we got the shit going on in North Carolina. That is insane. I was talking to one of company, one of the guys from Safeware that we work with the armor side, and he's like, yeah, he goes, it's just, it's instant war zone. They had that, and then everything got washed out. Turns out our armor factory is in North Carolina. It wasn't affected, but we had an order that got delayed by like 4 or 5 days because all the infrastructure is kind of a little screwy. So yeah, so you're looking at, you see the video on that, and that's just unthinkable, right? How many times do these places flood? What happened, I guess, was they had a reservoir, and all the, massive amounts of water came down the mountains and just filled it up and just burst the dam. They maybe could have been able to like let some of that shit go beforehand. I'm sure there's going to be some type of investigation into it, but it was just I think I got like 3 feet of water, if I'm correct.
Lot.
Yeah, it's incredible, and that's, some of these places are never coming back. No, Florida come back, right? Tampa, it took a beating. It'll come back. People will be back down there, in a week. But like all this other, Ashland, some of those smaller towns, there's nothing going in there. Those people are just not coming back.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully you get an insurance check and that's it. But hey, we're sending them $750 each.
If they get approved.
Yes. Right. 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 Their best bet is to go down and come in through the border, and then they'll get $6,000, a cell phone, a place to live, and
Right.
transportation. It's fucking unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. What? Yeah. And now it's funny because they had the press, the White House saying in 2022, no problem, we can take care of the migrants, the illegal, I'm calling them illegals, because we have money from FEMA. And now FEMA doesn't have any money to help our own people. What's going on in Hawaii? Right? Has that been rebuilt? I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I'll be honest, I haven't even looked it up. But
last I heard from my friend who's from Hawaii, he was saying that they got even less. They got like $700, and yeah, that's like the last I heard.
And by the way, if you sign, I think that's like that's like what you get. You know what I mean? They're like, if you get the check and you take it, you're like, okay, that's like, maybe 2 nights, 3 nights in a hotel room.
Yeah, it's gonna be taxed too, for sure.
Yeah, without a doubt. Of course. So, if we can't look, if we're not taking care of our own people, we're really not a country, right?
Yeah.
Right. We don't have secure borders. We don't take care of our own first. Then we'll help whoever. I'm like,
Yeah.
It's fine, but let's I can't. It's just like not it. And then when you look at it from, hold on.
Jesus Christ.
Then when you look at what Elon Musk posted, where it's like some of these swing states had like less than 20,000 in difference in voting. So now we're getting all these these illegals in. We're getting them asylum seeker status, so we're fast tracking their citizenship. Meanwhile, if you come here and you're like a fucking computer programmer from, Delhi, India, you got to wait 3 years, if that, because you also have to prove that you're doing something that nobody else here can do. Right? So, there's that. I guess these guys don't have to do it. But the people who can actually contribute to society or are ready to, I'm not saying that, obviously, I'm not saying all of them are, but look, when they're taking over, office buildings and they're taking over apartment buildings by force, when they, have no regard for, local laws. I'm like, look, dude, you look, I'm like, not even getting into the cat eating thing, whatever, but till they start eating dogs, I'm okay. But
dog's not bad.
No. Yeah, man.
That's good, man. That's good.
Oh, yeah, man. Anything's good enough. But, yeah, dude. So, it's fucking, I don't know. It's an easy way to swing the election. I mean, look at what just happened. You got, and again, about fucking politics, motherfucker. And this is the last time I'll fucking talk about it. For right now.
For 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, of course. The last time I'm talking about it in this sentence. We've got like Democrat, we have a Democratic candidate that wasn't elected, that was appointed. And now once they get in, what happens, and I'm just saying that it's like the whole system. It's, Democrats, Republicans, it's everybody, right? So what does our democracy look like then, right? So, they want to start, they start fucking with the Supreme Court. They start, doing all the executive orders and all the other shit. I'm like, I hope, it's important, when they're sitting there, look, guys, free speech. You lose me at free speech. And, you got the Second Amendment to keep the First Amendment, period. And then, on down the line. But I mean, there's a reason why they're 1 and 2. What are we doing? Again, there's a gun violence issue in this country, but we're not addressing the mental health issue. And that's why I think RFK, so I think we need him. I mean, we do, between, him and then Musk looking at the government as efficiency. Yeah, they're going to probably wind up trying to kill all of them, to be honest, because, who wants that? Right. I mean, Elon Musk is like fucking Tony Stark. Really is. Think about it. He saved free speech, right? He put up Starlink, so he saved the internet. And he gave, he was giving Ukraine free Starlink, right? He sent an Uber to the space station. Right? I'm like, oh yeah, I made an electric car too. And and it's like, oh, it's so fucking weird that everyone's blowing him because he makes the electric car on that side. And then as soon as he buys Twitter and he says free speech, now they fucking hate him.
Well, yeah, because electric cars are, like the, save the world mindset, right?
Right.
So they're like, oh, he's on our side. No, wait, he actually is. He believes in freedom of speech. Wait a minute, that's not right.
Right. If you went back, even just 10 years, you would have, it was even the left would not be free speech. When I was growing up, even a million years ago, free speech, anti-war, that was the left, right? That was it. And now it's flipped. I'm like, holy crap, man. I'm like, it's bizarre because all the people who were once over there who are my age, we're talking about like, waging these global wars. It's insane. So, all right. So we talked about evacuation. I wanted to talk about that. I want to talk about ghost guns because it is Halloween.
There you go.
So
you can leave the stupid fucking tinfoil hat on.
No.
I'm pretty sure you forgot that was there.
Tinfoil hat is very comfortable. So So, where am I looking? No, not that one. Where'd you go? There you go. Okay, so the president, yes, he did something, possibly AI, possibly his office. So in the Supreme Court, they're hearing first oral arguments today. The case is Garland versus Vanderstock, surrounds a 2022 regulation on so-called ghost guns, untraceable firearm components made through 3D printing kits and parts. So kids, for all of you playing at home, if you don't know what a ghost gun is, basically taking the just making the components of a gun on your own. You can do a machine shop. A lot of them are doing 3D printing, which is huge I saw in Australia. And they're only getting better. I mean, the first iterations of them kind of sucked, but now, they're figuring it out. So the guns are legit guns. A lot of them are high impact plastic. All you need is some steel, barrel slides, shit like that. Keep it going. You could probably use some composite on that as well. I'm not a composites guy, but I would imagine probably like Kevlar carbon fiber, maybe it will take the heat, right? I don't know.
I mean, depending on how long you need it to last.
Right. True. Right. Exactly. So, and by the way, if, let's just say you banned all guns tomorrow, this is the easiest fucking solution. The guns are not going away. So, first of all, you have to, besides even confiscating all the guns, right? I mean, and this law is kind of stupid because there's constitutional carry states, right? 44% of our states are 29 states. Sorry, it's more than that. So yeah, 50, yeah, more than that. So 29 states are constitutional carry, which means you don't need a permit, you don't need fucking anything. You just go get a gun. You can buy a gun, you can trade a gun, you can do whatever the fuck you want, right? So even the idea of what this is doing, it's okay, right? I mean, you can, there's an interesting opinion on this, which I'll share in a second. But at the issue, it's continuing the article at issue is whether the Biden administration oversteps its authority in amending the 1968 definition of a firearm to include parts capable of being converted into a gun under 30 minutes. The change by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. These motherfuckers, they insert themselves in a lot of shit. There's a lot of like regulation and law that was getting passed, like the bump stock thing, without any, without any checks and balances from the Congress or the Supreme Court. So, the amended rule came after what the administration says was roughly a 10-fold increase in the number of ghost guns recovered at crime scenes since 2017, with law enforcement covering ghost guns in up in 15% related crimes. The Supreme Court will last through June and blah, 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 blah. Okay. So that's that. The other, the dissenting opinion on that was, where the heck did I put it? Put it someplace. It was yesterday. Here we go. And here. Okay. So Justice Alito, so again, this is from Colion Noir. The ATF and other wisdom decided to classify certain unfinished gun parts, specifically frames and receivers, as firearms. This is all in part of their ongoing war against the so-called ghost guns, which are basically homemade guns that aren't serialized. The ATF is saying if it looks like a gun, could eventually be a gun, or maybe even dreams to become a gun, it's a gun. Long story short, this case is all about whether the ATF is playing fast and loose with what actually counts as a firearm under federal law. And spoiler alert, Justice Alito wasn't buying it. Okay, this is where Justice Alito, in true Supreme Court fashion, decided to cut through the BS by asking the government's lawyer one of the most important legal questions of our time. And I'm not exaggerating here. He asks, if I have a blank pad and a pen, is this a grocery list? To which the government, trying to sound smart, said, well, no, because a pad and a peg can be used for all kinds of things, not just grocery lists. And that's when Alito pulls out the heavy artillery and goes, all right, let's say I've got some eggs, chopped ham, peppers, onions. Is that a Western omelet? No, unless you're out there making omelets in your sleep. The answer is no. Obviously, no. Judge, that's just the ingredients. But Alito's point was clear. Just because you've got the parts doesn't mean you've got the final product. Just like eggs and peppers aren't an omelet, a bunch of unfinished gun parts aren't a firearm. And y'all, this is where the ATF entire argument gets scrambled, because if you can't make an omelet without cooking the eggs, how in the world are you supposed to call a hunk of metal a firearm? Now, here's the thing. Why we do have judges like Alito, Barrett, and Gorsuch who actually get the Second Amendment and want to keep the ATF in check when they try to overreach, well, it's because they were appointed by Donald Trump. Okay, here we go. Looks me to so yeah. I mean, I don't know if I totally agree with the idea that, you know, what else could a receiver be used for? Right? You know, what can, you know, so the fact of the matter is, though, if you
yeah, but the problem that the judge was having with it, right, that the Supreme Court justice was having with it is the wording in it, right? If it even has hopes of being a firearm, right?
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
So then you say, okay, the machining equipment that is you know, stamping out these firearm parts can also be used to stamp out other things, but now that machining equipment now has to be serial numbered, now has to be assigned to the ATF, you know, et cetera,
right.
et cetera. Where does it stop, right? And that's kind of what he's saying is like, where does it stop? You know,
right?
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you know, again, they're, you know, and they're reacting to a tenfold increase, which again, it's going to be how many illegal guns are used.
You know, it goes back
85%, right?
It goes, you know, who's making these ghost guns to use in crimes, right?
Right.
Not law-abiding citizens. Who do these laws affect? Law-abiding citizens, because the illegals don't care. People who are committing crimes don't care. They're going to get their firearms or whatever weapon they want somewhere. They're going to make it. They're going to find it. They're going to steal it. They're going to do something.
Yeah.
You know? So who does it affect? It doesn't affect criminals.
Right. I mean, and it's again, to your point, it's not stopping shit. It's not going to stop anybody. Right. What it'll do is it'll be one less avenue for people to, you know, defend and secure themselves. Because look, man, maybe you don't want to get, I mean, look, if you're a criminal, you don't give a shit. But what if you're a law-abiding citizen and you know what? You're like, look, man, I just want something for my house, you know, or I don't want the government to know that I have a fucking gun. And you know what? It probably shouldn't. I mean, why should they? Why do I have to, like, when I move into a town, why do I have to register my firearms? So if the police come, they know, dude, they're wearing body armor. They got guns, right? There's a problem. You know, they're coming in assuming the worst, assuming I'm armed. They're assuming I'm dangerous. If they're not, then they haven't been trained. They've been trained for shit. So, you know, you gotta, you know, yeah, it's none of my business what I own. You know, that's just what it is. And I don't give a shit. It's none of my business what you own. You know, so as long as it's not affecting me, you know, what the hell do I care? Yeah. So, yeah, man, I don't know. I just, yeah, it's just, you know, they're trying to do this shit and it's all over bullshit. They're not solving anything. Nothing. Oh, you can't do ghost guns, right? Okay. You know, all right. You know, I mean, how many fake guns were used in a fucking crime? Right. So, you know, I don't know. That one dude, you ever see the dude from Texas that shot that dude, that kid that was robbing a store? And it turned out he had a fake gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like, yeah, no shit, dude. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't do it. You know, like, and you're sitting there and you're like, oh, you know, people like, you know, if someone's doing violent, like, obviously there are clearly times where people are wrongfully shot, but it's not as often as you think, right? You know,
no, I mean, with the millions of guns we have in this country, how many accidental deaths are there, right?
You would think there'd be a shit ton more. You'd think there would be people shooting. If you tell somebody who's on the left about, well, guess how many, first they don't even know what constitutional carry is. One, two is guess how many states would have it. What if I told you over half the states in the country, you're allowed to carry a firearm wherever you go, and you don't have to tell anybody you have it. What do you think would happen to this world? I'm like, oh my God, it would be crazy. It would be, I'm like, yeah, well, it's happening now. It's there.
Yeah, it's already a thing.
Right. I mean, but to think that, we're looking at this, this new behavior as a result of the mental health issue that's happening. Clearly.
Yeah.
But I still go.
I was gonna say, it goes back to, people are always like, we need more laws, but there's already so many in place that aren't even enforced. Like,
right.
The right laws are already in place. Just enforce them.
Yeah. You want to come up with some new thing that you can, talk about and red flag somebody for what? Right. So where does HIPAA come in? I got to fill out like my mental health, I got to sign an affidavit that I've never, they do a mental health screen on me, that not that I've been criminally insane, not that I've, broken any laws, just that I haven't been hospitalized for any mental illness whatsoever. Holy shit. What if I'm better? Right?
But you might not be.
That's
right. And the difference between owning a gun and driving a car is that owning a gun is guaranteed by it's a fucking right. It's not a privilege. So, when you treat rights like privileges, look, I also think, if you served your time, you were convicted of a felony and you served your time and you came out, I also think you should be able to vote. Why not? You served your debt to society. We're just going to treat you like a criminal your entire life. What kind of fucking rehabilitation is that?
Yeah, it's not rehabilitation, right? You can't get a job. You can't vote. You can't do anything.
Do anything. It's shit. Look, I mean, yeah, you fucked up. I mean, people are going to look at you a certain way, and, there's going to be a level of trust that needs to be built up on top of what, would normally transpire. But, it's like, if you you can't be a citizen and participate in it, it's, we're not sending a message that like, hey, this is our system, and under our system, you're free to go and you're free. So, I'm like, it's like, there's a lot of like, contradictions in, what we got going on here. I mean, look, George, in Canada, if you're convicted of a felony, can you vote anymore? Not that your vote matters up there, but
Yeah. Since I'm not really a fucking voter, I have no idea. I don't know. That's something that I would look up. It's so fucking interesting. I've never voted. Should I be even saying this? Yeah, I have never fucking voted. I'm like, you know what? We're fucked no matter what.
Yeah. I vote for my right to bitch. So when I do vote, and I can't say, I fucking voted, you voted for that asshole. Or I voted for this asshole. Yeah.
Fucking interesting. Yeah. I just fucking, never fucking voted, man.
Yeah.
So I have no right to complain about the shit up here. So whatever.
Right. But it's fucking crazy, man. Like having like all this shit that gets kicked around, with, free speech and, with, monitoring and, hate talk and all this other crap. You're like, dude, I don't know.
But you hear about speaking of the free speech, you hear about how they want to adjust the First Amendment to say that you can't do misinformation, disinformation, yada, yada, yada.
Yes. Yeah. Holy fuck. And then who decides that? Everybody. Right? Here's how it works. Right? Let's say I say something completely stupid or half-witted, which happens often. Someone can come up and be like, hey, what you said is wrong because of this, 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 and this. Debate me and expose me. That's how it works. Right? Without that back and forth, we all don't learn anything, right? And it turns out, like as in COVID, a lot of the people who were saying the misinformation have turned out to be true. Now, Bill Gates is like, oh, well, it really didn't do all the things we said it was going to do. We'll get it right next time. Get it right next time. You fucking poisoned fucking half the fucking country, you asshole. Like, holy fuck. You forced people. You scared the fuck out of people. You said this will be the winter of the dead for the unvaxxed. I fucking heard that, and I will never fucking forget it. And you know what? It fucking wasn't. They're like, well, Gates is like, well, it wasn't as bad as we thought it was. I'm like, no shit. It was never as bad as we thought it was. It was supposed to be shut down for 2 weeks. Fucker. Yeah.
So can we talk about playing dumb games and getting dumb prizes? Can we talk about
yes
that happened in Texas?
Yes.
All right.
Please.
So have you heard about this, George?
No, go for it.
Okay, so on Sunday, this last Sunday, all of a sudden start getting these reports that there was a attempted mass shooting at a church, and that the security guard, scared him away, fired some rounds, blah blah blah. They couldn't find the dudes. Nothing's happening, and then the next day it comes out this guy made it all up.
How?
Oh, no.
So how did they figure out? Do you know how they figured out it was him? Here we go.
Yeah. So one of my buddies was one of the first ones to respond to the scene, and I'm not going to share his name. I'm not going to.
No, please don't.
I won't tell you obviously stuff like pertinent to the case or whatever. But he said they showed up and he got there and immediately was just kind of like, this doesn't seem right, and yeah. And
where'd it go? Keep going.
Yeah, so he's just like, this doesn't seem right. And then other people started showing up and they're all kind of, he's getting cross-questioned and all this other stuff. And he said him and some other dude were like, man, we better start putting our galoshes on because it's getting the dude is getting real bad here. They're like, it's just so bad. And anyways, long story short, the dude they end up taking it, they suspect something's not right. They take him in for a polygraph Monday morning, and he fails it miserably. And as soon as he fails, the state trooper looks at him and goes, well, you failed really bad. And he's just like, I should probably come clean.
Oh shit. I mean,
so he just told him the whole truth at that point.
It's fucking, first off, people, polygraph is inadmissible. So, if you fail a polygraph, you fail it. Right? They can't use it in court. They can't do anything. And you're like, but obviously anyone that does this has got a fucking mental illness. I mean, there's something wrong with.
Yeah, I can't share more because it's, it pertains to the case.
Yeah.
But they suspect that it was planned due to certain things going on at the church that day.
Well, oh, okay. So he, I'm guessing that there was something happening at the church, be it a wedding or some other type of
services. There's just services.
Oh, okay. So, I don't know what the best I can think about it, look.
I can't share it on here, but if you want to talk after, I'll let you know.
That's all right. You're right, of course. So there was a, normally it's like always the case where firefighters who start fires, right? It's like along that vibe to it. We had a case here years ago. In fact, all the guys that I worked with kind of got some real on the job training because one of the members of one of the adjacent towns lit the fire. He lit our town hall up. He lit up 2 or 3 houses, and then he lit up the other fire station. Our town hall that had the fire station in it at the time. So he basically lit up 2 fire stations and 3 houses. And yeah. So, and he would be always the first one that would respond to the fires.
Yeah, it's that hero syndrome. I forget what it's called, but it's where somebody wants to be a hero, right?
Right.
Right. Emergencies.
Yeah.
And That's not what happened here. But we can talk about it more after.
Oh my God.
That was my first thought, but after talking to my buddy, he said that's not the case.
Oh, good. Okay, and that'll be all tonight.
Yeah, but apparently what happened was services started. He went off into the backfield, fired off 3 rounds, and then just called it in.
Holy shit.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
It tied up so many resources. It was insane.
well, of course. I mean, this is the world we live in, and that's what
people don't realize that this kind of incident, mass shooting with like a church or a school or whatever, within an hour, they're talking to the president of the U.S.
Right.
Like federal assets are getting, sent out. He said they had like state trooper, SRT was like on the site with their helicopter, just waiting to raid wherever this vehicle was. Like everything was ready. FBI was there, ATF was there, everybody was there. Everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. And yeah. So many assets tied up with something fake rather than doing what they should be doing.
I mean, look, it doesn't take a genius. So, yeah, I mean, I had a chilling conversation yesterday with this company that I'm working with, and they're, assembling critical crisis management response teams for HSA and FEMA, because they believe in October 7th, like assaults will be happening in the U.S. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So,
I mean, if our country keeps displaying a weak front, it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're letting people in, so they're already here.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple times ago.
Yeah. I mean, so they're here, right? And the only ones that's going to help, meanwhile, at the same time, you're putting, restrictions on firearms, some states body armor, it's, you're limiting the citizens, their ability to fucking do something about it. And, that makes us even more vulnerable, because the police are going to we're going to respond to an incident, and then if it's credible, everyone and their mother is showing up, and then all you need in an area is to have 2, right? Imagine 3. There's nothing you can do. The only people who's going to be saving us are us, period. And if you don't think it's going to happen, then you're out of your goddamn mind.
Yeah,
right. We are so due, it's not even fucking funny.
Which also goes back to natural disasters and stuff. Which is why the looting and everything is so bad, because emergency personnel are everywhere else.
Yeah, and local police are with their fucking families.
Yeah,
it's like this what people don't understand too. I'm like, look, Hurricane Sandy. I'm like, yeah, guys were working, but I'm like, some guys had families and there was an emergency. I'm like, if my family's in trouble, I'm going, right? I mean, who's going to stay? Yeah. Maybe somebody will stay, but if you have to make a choice, eventually you got to, it's like, look, my family's got to get out of here. I mean, usually it is typical that first responder families are a little bit more prepared than your average family. They should be, because they're aware, they're living it. So when this shit starts happening, you start getting that intel. You're like, okay, you're going here. Just go, right? I'm like, no problem. Like, my mother-in-law was down the shore. I'm like, get the hell out of the house, go inland to your daughters. And she wound up living there like 6 months because her house got flooded. Yeah. I'm like, meanwhile, the next door neighbor was thinking about he was going to ride it out. And there was like a 40-foot wave that kind of like came in and just like took everything out. And then he wound up putting his wife in a kayak, and he put a wetsuit on and like carried her down the road, because it was like, chest high, deep water. And I go, and what if there are currents involved?
Yeah.
What do you do? I'm like, you just put that. I mean, you're like, no, it's not what you do. So,
why didn't the fucker get in the kayak with her?
Right.
Hold on.
I think it was a one-man kayak. So
okay.
yeah. So,
But you bring up a great point. I'm going to give myself a little plug here. You bring up a great point of how important even a basic emergency plan is, right? And emergency resources. Right. So if anybody wants help making one, I'll help you. It's one of my services I provide.
Yep. Plug the website, dude.
Survivaldefensesolutions.com. Hit it up. Go to the SDC website, go to the instructor locator, and it's got links up there.
Sure does.
I'm putting in the chat.
And I'll do it for anybody in the world. We can just do it over a Zoom call because planning's easy.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I mean, and that's where you think, you think it's like this whole. I mean, having a plan is like 3/4 of it. I mean, like when we do these drills and we do like the family safety, family fire escape drill, shit like that, you do it like once or twice.
Yeah. I was going to bring that up last time we were talking, actually, last week was the family safe program.
Yeah.
And how easy it is. Like you don't have to train a lot for your brain to kind of be like, okay, this is kind of what needs to happen,
Right.
Simple plan, do it once or twice, boom, good to go.
That's it. You gotta set, you gotta set a simple rules, with the look, and it's very like, 2 ways out of every room. Right. Yep. So, that's all right. I mean, you got to evacuate your house. I'm like, yeah, well, sometimes, if a bad guy's coming up the stairs, you got to get the fuck out. And, if you're hanging out a second floor window, okay. If you have a knotted rope, not a ladder, because a ladder, if going down one of those fucking ladders in a hurry is a fucking nightmare. And you'll probably, if anyone ever had to do it, it sucks.
We use them at work. They are fun.
Right. Yeah. Imagine doing that. Like fucking yeah. Like when your feet are on fire and your ass is catching, you'll be fucking hanging there. So but again, once, 2 ways out of every room, stuff like that. Cause even like in a fire, like, it's the same thing. It's like, once the stairs are gone, the house is gone. Like, so it's always like protect the stairs. So if you lose the stairs, well, we're fucked. Then it's just, hopefully everybody's out. But yeah, again, simple plan, and that goes for everything. It goes for self-defense. It goes for all of this stuff. I mean, just having a basic protocol of how you're managing, your interaction with the world. And then if something happens and it just is like, okay, self-defense, it's like, I'm establishing distance. If you break the distance or I can't escape, now I got to do something, period. Like one of the things that, I picked up is like having shit like in your bug out bag, like bolt cutters, because there's some things, if I got to get in a place, right, I'm not going to pick a lock, or if a road is closed. We're talking about the story that happened in the California fires. Guy got, going off the road, the highway's jammed up in a 4x4, and then gets, stuck because he can't, break through a chain barrier with his vehicle, and they burn to death. I mean, simple things like that. But yeah, I mean, yeah, go to Survival Defense Solutions. Talk to Josh. He will hook you up. So yeah. So any big plans for the weekend?
I'm doing a fire extinguisher thing at a fire safety.
Pass, baby, pass.
and we have the real Thanksgiving this fucking weekend.
All right. Nice.
So this whole fucking call, I gotta say, Josh, I love you, buddy, but this whole fucking call, I've been so distracted because the whole clean cut fucking look in the Superman shirt, it's a Halloween costume. You're going out for a Superman for Halloween, aren't you, motherfucker?
I'm not, but I have in the past.
You got the whole Clark Kent look going. Holy shit.
Hold on, here we go.
Yes.
I mean, like having young kids, dude, and Halloween's a fucking best. The only thing that makes it better is if you're gay. It's like it's gay. Halloween is gay Christmas. I was like, it is. I'm like, all my gay friends, dude. It's like that is the time, you know. And how many fucking Judy Garland, costumes, from Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz costumes you see, a lot of, they it's classic.
Oh.
So yeah, dude. I mean, Halloween's freaking great. Yeah, this year we're going down to Charleston for a week to see my son. And we're gonna be down there for Halloween. We're just gonna stay. And then psyched, I got both my kids are coming home for Thanksgiving. So yeah, dude, excited about it. It's like, now it's like, you get them, I see them maybe all together, maybe 1, 2, 3 times a year. He's down in Charleston. She's out in California now. She's working now. She's booking some jobs. She's been busy. We may have some pretty big news in the next few days. And she's been working, man. Like, she's done like 5 or 6 things in the last 2 months, all non-union shit. And then she's got a part-time gig at a production studio that could turn into a full-time gig. But now if she gets signed with this other thing, then she'll get better opportunity. And then, once she starts doing that, but apparently, they're liking her. I mean, she definitely it's weird. I mean, I'm her dad, so, I've got a real, I'm not the dad that thinks my kids are the greatest. I mean, they're the greatest to me. What I mean is the best, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, my daughter's the most beautiful. Oh, my son's the fucking best athlete. You know what I mean? I'm kind of a temperate, as human beings are fucking awesome, which is what matters. So I guess, what I'm, but I'm not the one that's going to be you won't come out of my mouth, oh, my kid's going D1. Those words never fucking came out of my mouth, even if he would have gone D1.
That's how I am too. I'm like, no, my kids are all right. I don't know.
Yeah,
you gotta do it at a time.
You gotta be, I'm like, cause you gotta cause the person shit, the spiritual shit, you know what I mean? There's times to be like, dude, you're best. I love you. You can't say I love you enough. You can't show it enough. But there's also accountability, which is what you want to install. And you want to be a stand-up person, right? I'm like, it's very hard to do what you say you're going to do, right? I'm like, that is a tough thing to learn, because a lot of times you do it not because you're, sometimes you're doing it because you're trying to get over on somebody, but other times you really have the intention because you want to do it, but you can't. So, really kind of giving an accurate assessment. And, so I'm like, look, dude, I'm doing this shit. I go, look, if I'm with somebody and they say they can do it, I'm depending on them to do it. If they can't, I want to know. Because if you say you can do it, you can't fucking do it. I go, that is worse than just saying that's 10 times worse than saying you just can't do it.
Yeah.
And I know moving forward, I can ask you and you're going to give me a relatively accurate assessment of what can get done. Right. So, I don't know, we've been very, lucky. I mean, I think he's still has got a 3.84 this semester.
Nice.
So,
very nice.
Yeah. And he's taking he's starting to take his business management and finance classes. So yeah, I'm like, and they're both, look, dude, they're both very much into fitness, taking care of themselves, studying, and then having a good time. But he knows he's I'm here to do this. And I go, then I don't have to, but there's plenty of time to do the other shit. They'll fucking go out and have a good time. And I'm like, yeah, dude. And it just keeps building on itself. So You know, that was the one thing, that was the mistake I made, is that I really didn't, you know, I was always smart, but like high school smart, meaning like I could like, because if we're going to class every day, you know what I mean? I could like do okay, I could do pretty good. But then when I was left to my own devices where I had to fucking like read and study and shit like that, like, I totally lacked discipline. I fucking barely graduated college, barely fucking graduated. Fucking awful. Yeah. And it sucks because I probably could have, like, I don't know, found something. I don't fucking know. You know, so at least they're like, look,
You
it's
did
about-
find something.
That's right.
You
right.
started a successcul business. What are you talking about?
I know, but you know what I mean? It could have
I
been like,
wrote a fucking book.
it could have happened so much faster. You know, I think, I don't know, man. You're right, but it's like, I don't fucking know. I just want them to have options earlier, right? Because I mean, my thing is, and before I turn this into some type of TED talk, like, so I mean, like my senior, like I was getting recruited for football and wrestling a lot, and it looked like I wanted to play football in college. So my senior in the
Wait,
state,
they were recruiting you for football, but you're like 5'5".
I was 5'8" at the time. I was a running back, so
5'8".
right, 5'5", motherfucker. I've met you.
I know.
Douche. So I was a running back, which is the only position I could possibly play. That's it. You know, I was like 4'6", 40 fast, but not like corner fast. You know, and I would get like 7-8 yards a clip, right? So, and I could break if I could, but you know, I wasn't like, I probably, if I was like another 10th down, you know, I don't know, whatever. So anyway, I was getting recruited, and you know, went on my recruiting trips, all this other shit. Got into Annapolis. Holy Cross was looking at me, and you know, it's the smaller D1 places. Then I tore my ACL in the state finals of football, so I missed my entire senior year of wrestling. I was still getting recruited by Lehigh for wrestling, and they originally, I remember they came for football, and I kind of looked at it, I'm like, you know, I really want to go there, because I went out there in 8th grade on a recruiting trip for wrestling, and we came in through the back end of it, and it was in the middle of winter, and Bethlehem, Pennsylvania is a shithole. I'm sorry, people. I love you all, but their areas are nice. But like Southside Bethlehem, coming up back in the mountain, going to Stable Arena in the winter in that steel town in the 80s was just fucking brutal. And I looked at my parents and I'm like, I'll never go here. Well, there you go. That's the last time I said that shit. So, you know, I kind of like, they were like the last ones, like, yeah, you can come on. So I went on for football, and I kind of like backed into it. You know, being a walk-on on a sport, especially something like football, is fucking very difficult, right? If you ever try to tell people, if you're not recruited, you know, if they're not like, they'll do the preferred walk-on, whatever. The feeling is if you work out great, but if you're there as a scholarship player, they need to really justify their decision why they're spending money on you, right? And you want to play as a walk-on, and this is why it makes these stories so incredible, is that, you know, you've got to be like, you got to be undeniable to fucking do it, you know? So, and it's a tough road to hoe, man, because they'll, you know, I mean, they don't care. You know, they want, you know, they're like, they got the scholarship guys and they got the walk-ons. And then, you know, you could, you know, if you're not catching anybody's eye, that's it. I mean, in one JV game, I think they put me at fullback because I wound up being like, after I hurt my knee, all I did was lift weights and eat, right? There's like no nutritional coaching or whatever. So I was benching damn near like 400 pounds by the time I went there, but I weighed like 220, you know, and
That's a lot for 5'8".
yeah, it is. It is. And I was like, I think my squat was like damn near like it was like over 500, right? So I was like, this thing. And we played we played one JV game. I got the ball. I carried like I got like 70 yards and like 10 carries. I'm like, all I got was like a pat on the back. I'm like, dude, dress me. I'm like, put me someplace. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. No such luck. But then wrestling, I got a varsity spot, and then I realized, well, I fucking hate wrestling at the fucking college level. I didn't like it at all. It was not fun. And I was like, ugh. Then I was done. After my sophomore year, I was like fucking done with everything. Like if I had to do it again, probably would have done a prep year if I wanted to play in school, if I want to play sports. But from the educational standpoint, I should have been like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm here. But again, I wasn't brought up like that. I mean, I wasn't. My kids were. They know like, hey, I get like just as excited over, I get more excited over good grades than I do a good game, or a good performance. Now, and that's what it is. You like try to put the same weight on everything or even a little more to know like, look, there's more opportunities if you do well academically than if you do athletically.
Yeah, for sure.
So this is what I'm like, you'll get merit shit, you'll get money, you'll get it's out there, man. I go, you do well academically. I'm like, you're gonna have a lot more fucking options. Again, you're watching this shit, dude. Guy gets hurt is done. We've had our local high school team had two very fucking great players. One kid is committed to Dartmouth. Another kid didn't get an offer or didn't commit. Both of them, one towards meniscus, one towards ACL. A season done. And like, that's it. And everyone's like, well, should I go? Dude, this is fucking sports, bro. If you need me to explain it to you, that's it. You get fucking, it can happen in a fucking instant. And it's a fucking lottery ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And you better have the other shit together, because even if you don't, even when you retire, if you're one of the fucking small, minute percentage to be fortunate enough to play as a professional, holy shit, right? I mean, the average NFL career is like 3 years. Oh, and guess what? And if you're on the practice squad, you don't get the pension.
No.
By the way, you got to be fucking on the 53, right? So there's that. NBA is even more insane. So you've got to like, really take sports and, athletics and martial arts and everything for what they are. Their character building, their spirit building, their team building. And that's what you use them for, right? They teach you to put in some work. So you do long-term, you have long-term goals, and you're going to do shit that sucks, but it's going to lead to something that's fucking good. And you get a little success. And then there's always somebody out there that can kick your fucking ass. So, that's where, we're like, it's yeah, man. Said like, we're empty nesters now. I do miss my guys, but they couldn't stay. It's like time to go. You want to keep them around. Eventually, they gotta go. I mean, them going away and not having access to home as much has accelerated their development as human beings, becoming self-sufficient. It's like, okay, dude, you're not joining the military, so go. And so like my son got a job parking cars. My daughter's worked every year she's been alive except COVID, because nobody was doing it. She was out in California, so forget it. But my son parking car a couple nights a week. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, dude, like that's it. I go, that's your fucking around money. Enjoy it, because we're also like, we're not paying for your fraternity now. We did that once. I go, you go away. We did that once already. So you want to pay for spring break? You want to pay for your fraternity? I go, you want your girl money? I go, you got to go earn it because you're not financing that shit. And then as it goes, it goes. So yeah. Anyway. So that's it. So I'm not doing anything this weekend. I think one of my buddies is coming over because Angela's meeting her friend up in like Providence. So I think we're gonna do gay hot tub night.
There you go.
You know, maybe sword fight and
Too much info.
yeah, man. So and yeah, that's it. So yeah, dude. So everybody, thank you for joining us. Fellas, awesome as always, awesome. We should be good to go next week. Does Thursday work out better or Wednesday?
Thursday's better for me.
So let's do Thursday. I like Thursday better. It's like near the end of the week. We can kind of get a good vibe going. So good. It's Thursday. That's it. I like that. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, train honestly.